Hey, mystery lovers! Gather around for this epic tale of two intriguing abandoned black cats and their time travel adventure. Have you ever wondered why cats were adored in ancient Egypt? Their carvings still mask the walls of these ancient temples. There was something quaint and magical about this unfinished concrete house in the forgotten bushy edges of this small town. Its majestic entrance slowly fading over time. Within its dusty walls lived two cats, Shadow and Whiskers, who had made this their home for almost a year. These two special felines had no memory of exactly when and how they had arrived there. Shadow, an all-black cat with piercing yellow eyes, was content with their life in the abandoned house. He found solace in the quiet and the vast, empty spaces. Whiskers, on the other hand, was a bit more adventurous. With a distinctive white patch on her chest and longer whiskers that twitched with curiosity, she often dreamed of more than just surviving. Their days were spent hunting in the bushes and the few neighbors' yards foraging for food. To their surprise recently, they sometimes found fresh and tasty cat food in the yard across the street. They suspected it was the work of the mysterious man who had recently moved into the house. Whiskers insisted one evening, her eyes gleaming with determination.
Shadow, we need to find out who's leaving the food. I bet it's that man across the street. We should break into his house and see what else he has.
Whiskers, with her quite healthy appetite, was particularly intrigued by this new neighbor.
I'm happy here, Whiskers. We have everything we need. Why risk it?
But Whiskers was persistent.
Don't you want to know? Aren't you curious? What if there's more food or something even better in that house?
Weeks passed, and Whiskers' curiosity only grew stronger. Shadow would sit by the window, keeping an eye on the house across the street, while Whisker would venture over to investigate. Shadow, though reluctant, couldn't ignore his friend's growing obsession. Finally, one late afternoon, Whiskers' persistence paid off.
All right, Whiskers, Shadow said. Let's do it. Let's find out what's inside that house.
There had been no sight of anyone all day at that house. With hearts pounding, the two cats slinked across the street, their movements silent and graceful. They approached the house, noticing a small open window. Whiskers leapt up. Shadow followed quickly and slipped inside. Whiskers paused to look back, her senses alert. Inside, the house seemed inviting, a stark contrast to their dusty, empty home. Smell of food. So many teapots. They scanned the countertop, then the living room. The house had an old charm. It looked a bit neglected. The paint was peeling. The furniture didn't match, but it seemed practical. Was this just a temporary space? And to their surprise, there was food, cat food, and lots of it, laying on the kitchen floor. There was no cat living here. What's going on? They quickly got over their surprise and started feasting. Shadow stopped eating first and wondered, what else is happening here? Shadow's curiosity led him upstairs a winding flight of stairs. He entered a hallway. The bedrooms were pretty basic. The first bedroom had a bed that had no mattress. A small clothes hanger was cluttered with hanging shirts, and the closet door was slightly open, showing a mess of clothes inside. He then noticed a bright glow coming from a room at the end. He cautiously approached and peered inside. In the bedroom on the far end of the hall had only the missing mattress laying on the floor with rumpled sheets on top. He boldly laid on the mattress, pondering. To his surprise, sitting on the windowsill in the corner was a yellow and white cat with piercing eyes. The striped cat said softly, its voice soothing and melodic.
Don't be afraid, I've been waiting for you.
Shadow felt a strange sense of calm wash over him, and he felt as in a trance, only able to move his eyes. The striped cat's eyes seemed to draw him in. The striped cat then began to transform, its form shifting and changing, until it became the man of the house, but with the appearance of a wizard.
The Pharaoh has finally found you. You and Whiskers are more than just ordinary cats. You were once revered members of the family of a great Pharaoh of Egypt.
Shadow's mind raced as the wizard continued.
An evil sorcerer, driven by greed, exiled you to this distant future. He sought to extract a ransom from the Pharaoh, but his plan was foiled and he was imprisoned. The Pharaoh then tasked me with finding you and bringing you back.
Every era he visited, he left no stone unturned. From the Renaissance to the Wild West to the Roaring Twenties, He was hunting for those two black cats. Shadow's mind raced as the wizard continued. Downstairs, Whiskers, now full and content, hearing only silence, hurried upstairs. He moved down the hallway and found Shadow laying still on the mattress in the room at the end. Shadow turned to her. His body was still frozen, but was able to move his head. The cat and the man was nowhere to be seen.
Whiskers, this is no ordinary man. He's a wizard and he says we belong to the family of a great pharaoh.
A great pharaoh? That sounds like something out of a fairy tale.
Whiskers muttered as her imagination ran wild. They then heard a whistling noise downstairs.
Come to the ground floor, royal ones, it's time to go. I'm making a doorway. You will find your true place in time. My journey is finally ending, but yours is just beginning again.
Shadow quickly led the way downstairs to the living room. Waving his hand, the wizard was conjuring a shimmering portal. Whiskers and Shadow exchanged a glance, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. Shadow asked,
Are you ready for this, Whiskers?
Whiskers took a deep breath and nodded.
Let's do it, Shadow. Let's find out who we really are.
Together, they stepped through the portal, leaving behind the abandoned house and the life they had known. As they emerged on the other side, they found themselves in a grand palace, surrounded by the splendor of ancient Egypt. After the two black cats stepped through the portal, they instantly felt a transformation. Their fur gleams with a luster, and they stride with an innate confidence. Is this what it means to be royalty? Royal collars materialize around their necks. They enter the throne room where a grateful pharaoh awaits them. As their memories resurface, they recall being the pharaoh's most cherished companions, especially in his childless state. They move through several chambers for the rest of the day, courtiers waiting to applaud their arrival with special feasts prepared in their honor. By the evening's end, they sit beside the pharaoh, gazing over the city and pyramids that stretch along the mighty Nile River. He smiles slyly as he looks at them. His gaze stated more than 1,000,000 words of affection. They could feel his powerful sense of admiration over them. The pharaoh whispered to them, "Once you are fully rested, I will tell you about the real mystery of that unfinished concrete house you found yourself." He winked at them and continued, "We need to bring it back to Egypt, to finally close that time portal for good. And the mystery continues. Keep your eyes out for a big, empty, abandoned house. Near you, you might just happen to see Whiskers and Shadow again. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more fantastic adventures. Until next time, share and enjoy this story with your old and new friends. Be sure to keep the magic alive.